hardware. The belt, water pump belt, because it's belt driven, is properly mounted and secured, not cut, frayed, or cracked, and it has no more than a 1/2 to 3/4 inch play.
That's what I didn't say this morning.
Okay, let's go to this side.
Did you just say all your belts and hoses?
I just said hoses. Now there's a belt on that side and there's a belt on this side.
Okay.
You have to make sure that you shave both of them. There's two belts. This is the driver's side of the engine compartment. Okay, I would still start from the top. I would go to my oil. This is my oil fill, properly mounted and secured, not cracked, broken, or damaged. It is not leaking, and the cap is on tight or in the lock position. Dipstick, properly mounted and secured, not cracked, broken, or damaged, in the lock position. This is where I would pull my dipstick out, wipe it off, reinsert it, and check the level. If it was below the minimum level, I would add 1 gallon of oil to the cap fill. Alternator. Up higher. Nope, up higher, not that. Alternator. Properly mounted and secured, but you see how it's like right below the oil on this truck. Alternator, properly mounted and secured, not cracked, broken, or damaged. It is belt driven. The belt has no more than a 1/2 to 3/4 inch play. The electrical line, properly mounted and secured. It's not cracked, cut, or frayed, and there is no exposed wires. That's what you have to say for the alternator. You got to say the belt and the wires. Let's see, back here. Power steering pump. So this is it right here. Properly mounted and secured, not cracked, broken, or damaged, and it is not leaking because there is fluid running through it, and it's not missing any hardware.
Get in here.
It's not missing any hardware.
That's right.
The air compressor is right back here. See that back there? See them big wire? You don't really have to know exactly where it's at. But your air compressor, properly mounted and secured, not cracked, broken, or damaged. It is not leaking because there's air running through it. And it's not missing any hardware. So then I would come up to here. My air hoses, properly mounted and secured, not cut, cracked, or frayed, not leaking. My electrical lines, properly mounted and secured, not cut, cracked, or frayed, and no exposed wires. Then I would come up to here. Now, the reason why I came to here is because this goes into my steering system. So I'm going to start here so I don't forget it, and then I'm going to go into my steering. So, power steering reservoir, properly mounted and secured, not cracked, broken, or damaged. It is not leaking, and the cap is on tight. It is filled to the proper level. If it was not filled to the proper level, then I would add power steering fluid to the cap. My steering shaft, properly mounted and secured, not cracked, broken, or damaged, no illegal welds, and there's no more than 1 inch play. You grab it and you turn it. My universal joints at the bottom and at the top, properly mounted and secured, not cracked, broken, or damaged, and are properly greased. That is the key phrase. That leads into my steering gearbox, properly mounted and secured, not cracked, broken, or damaged, no illegal welds, and it is not leaking or missing any hardware. My pitman arm, drag link, and tie rod. You can tie those 3 together. That's called your steering linkage. Properly mounted and secured, not bent, broken, or damaged. It's not missing any hardware. There is no illegal welds. And the castle nuts and Carter pins are in place.
If you say Carter key, would that be taken off? Okay.
I don't think so. My leaf spring hangers. Now I'm going to the inside and I'm going to work out, because when I start coming out, then it's just all going to flow. Okay, and that's what the goal is try to get a nice even flow so you don't forget anything. We're connecting components together so we don't miss anything. Okay. My leaf spring hangers, front and back. There's 2 of them. Properly mounted and secured, not cracked, broken, or damaged, no illegal welds, not missing any hardware. My leaf springs, because there's 2 of them. Properly mounted and secured, not cracked, broken, or damaged. They are not shifted, and there are none missing.
Shifted, none missing.
That's the 2 key phrases. My U-bolts, properly mounted and secured, not cracked, broken, or damaged, not missing any hardware, because there are nuts at the bottom of them to hold them in place. My shock absorber, properly mounted and secured, not cracked, broken, or damaged, properly mounted at the top and the bottom, and it is not leaking. There's hydraulic fluid in it, so it's got fluid, it can leak. My brake chamber hose, because now I'm going into the braking system. I'm done with the suspension, now I'm going to the brakes. My brake chamber hose, properly mounted and secured, not cut, cracked, or frayed, it is not leaking. My ABS line, properly mounted and secured, not cut, cracked, or frayed, no exposed wires, because that's a wire. My brake chamber, properly mounted and secured, not cracked, broken, or damaged, it is not leaking. Is there someone else there? Not broken or damaged, and it's not leaking. Okay, that's it. Sometimes you overthink it yourself. Push rod, because that goes into the brake chamber. They were working from the top of the braking system to the bottom of the braking system. So the push rod, properly mounted and secured, not cut or not bent, broken, or damaged, and there is no more than 1 inch of play with the brakes released. That is the key phrase.
For push rod.
For the push rod. A slack adjuster, properly mounted and secured, not bent, broken, or damaged, and it is at a 90-degree angle to the brake chamber. That's the key phrase. My slack adjuster and my push rod are connected by my Carter key and clevis pin, which are in place. My brake shoes, properly mounted and secured, not cracked, broken, or damaged, and not worn dangerously thin. That's the key phrase, not worn dangerously thin. My brake drum, properly mounted and secured, not cracked, broken, or damaged. It is free of oil and grease, which could cause a brake fire or failure. You have to say that. I know it says in 160 that if there is a crack, it can be no more than half the width of your brake shoes. But if you look in the state, I don't think you have to say that. But you can double check that to make sure. For the brake drum.
You have to say no oil or grease that can cause fire. That's what's in here.
And that's it.
No cracks or illegal welds. No
Yeah.
grease or oil that can cause fire. Brake drum.
Just the way I said it. But I wanted to make sure, because I know you guys sometimes, I ain't not that far yet. Actually, I did miss that. Very good. That one I actually did forget. Because on this one you can't see it. That one you can see it. I think on the Volvo you can see it as well, but you can't see it on this one. Sometimes that's why it makes it easy to forget it. But you have to, after you say your brake shoes are not cracked, broken, or damaged, not worn dangerously thin, you should say, and the return spring is in place. Then you go to your brake drum, properly mounted and secured, not cracked, broken, or damaged, free of oil and grease that could cause a brake fire or failure. So then when we come out of there, we come right to the tire. This is a virgin tire. My tread is worn evenly across. There is no less than 4/32 of tread depth in each major groove. My inner and outer walls are free of abrasions, bruises, or cuts. My tire is evenly beaded to my rim. My rim is properly mounted and secured, not not bent, broken, or damaged. No illegal welds. My lug nuts are properly mounted and secured, not cracked, broken, or damaged. It is also free of rust trails or shiny metal, which could indicate a loose lug nut. Hub seal, properly mounted and secured, not cracked, broken, or damaged, not missing any hardware, and it is not leaking. It's got fluid in it. It will leak. It is filled to the proper level, and I can tell that because I have a sight glass that goes around the actual plug. Okay. Valve stem, properly mounted and secured, not cracked, broken, or damaged. The cap is on tight. This is where I would check my air pressure with the air gauge. If it was below manufacturer specification, then I would fill it to manufacturer specification. And that's it for the front. So then we're moving on. See how we did that? We did this here, and we did the alternator, then we went back for the power steering pump, and we went back for the air compressor. We worked forward, came back to this so we don't forget it. Then we started our steering. Then we did our suspension, because now we're down at the bottom here, we want to start working out. So we do the suspension, we come to the brake, come to the tire, come to the rim, and moving on. So that's kind of how the flow goes. And it keeps everything together, and it makes it so you don't forget it. As long as you can get that connection thing down in your head, this is connected to that, that's connected to that. Turn signal, properly mounted and secured, not cracked, broken, or damaged, not missing any hardware, amber in color, and not hazed over. The reason why I do that first is because a lot of people tend to forget it. Inspection sticker, properly mounted and secure, clean, and up to date. Steps, properly mounted and secured, not cracked, broken, or damaged, no illegal welds, and actually this one does have a crack in it. Look at that. It is free of oil and debris that could cause me to slip, and it supports my weight. You got to put your foot up there. It shows that it supports your weight. My mirror frame, my mirror bracket, properly mounted and secured, not cracked, broken, or damaged, not missing any hardware, because there is hardware in there. My door, properly mounted and secured, not cracked, broken, or damaged, or not bent, broken, or damaged, I should say. Door handle, properly mounted and secured, not cracked, broken, or damaged. It's actually not plastic. And in good working order. Inside door handle, properly mounted and secured, not cracked, broken, or damaged, and in good working order. I'm on the door, so I'm going to stay on the door. My door hinges, properly mounted and secured, not cracked, broken, or damaged, not missing any hardware, and supports the weight of my door. The door seal, properly mounted and secured, not cut, cracked, or frayed, and it is not leaking. That's good. See how what the pattern is? I finished the door. Now I went to my seal because I'm getting ready to go inside. Yep, forgot about the latch. Very good. Might have did that one by accident too. My door latches are properly mounted and secured, not missing any hardware, and are in good working order. Shuts the door, locks it, opens it back up. I have spare fuses in my overhead compartment. I have a 10 BC fire extinguisher, properly mounted and secure. It is fully charged and the pin is in place. It is in 1 arm's length of the driver. I have red reflector triangles under my passenger seat and in my side storage compartment that are in good working order. That's the depth tank. You don't really need that for state. Fuel tank. Properly mounted and secured, not cracked, broken, or damaged. It is not leaking, and there is no illegal welds. These are legal welds. This came from the manufacturer that way. My static straps are properly mounted and secured, not cut, cracked, or broken. There is no metal to metal contact. Fuel cap, properly mounted and secured, not cracked, broken, or damaged. It is not leaking. This time I would remove my cap, check that my rubber seal is properly mounted and secured and is not cracked, cut, or frayed, and then my chain is in place. You don't have to say this. I don't see it anywhere on the test, but I'm going to tell you anyway because everybody else is knowing. My fuel lines, properly mounted and secured, not cut, cracked, or frayed. They are not leaking, and they are not missing any hardware. There is hardware on the lines. My electrical lines to my fuel tank, properly mounted and secured, not cut, cracked, or frayed, and there are no exposed wires. Which brings me to my electrical line, tractor side, properly mounted and secured, not cut, cracked, or broken. There is no frayed wires. My outlet is free of water and debris, which could cause an electrical short. And it is well greased and in the locked position. That's all I really gotta say. I don't know why you're not allowed to call it a pigtail. I have no idea. That's actually what that's called. What's that?
I thought we greased the glad hands, but
No. You grease the shaft of the electrical line. When you pull this out, and I'll show you on that side if you want.
Grease.
Yeah, it's a grease that actually keeps it sucks the water out, and it also greases it going in and out as well. Yeah. My airlines are they're right here. Oh, here they are. My airlines, properly mounted and secured, not cracked, cut, or frayed. They are not leaking, and there's not missing any hardware. This is hardware. My electrical line and my airlines are not tangled, and they are not touching the catwalk. My airlines to my trailer side, properly mounted and secured, not cut, cracked, or frayed. The glad hands are not bent, broken, or damaged. At this point, I would take it off, inspect my rubber grommet to make sure that it is not cut, cracked, or frayed, and it is not leaking. My airline to my trailer side, properly mounted and secured, not cut, cracked, or frayed, no exposed wires. It is free of water and debris, and it is properly greased and in the locked position. My catwalk, now the reason why I did that, you're there, just finish them up. That way you don't forget it. Okay. My catwalk steps, properly mounted and secured, not cracked, broken, or damaged. Free of oil and debris, could cause me to slip, support my weight. My catwalk, properly mounted and secured, not cracked, broken, or damaged. Somebody left the key on, turn the key on. Not cracked, broken, or damaged, free of oil and debris, which could cause me to slip. My exhaust system, properly mounted and secured, not bent, broken, or damaged. It is not missing any hardware. All the clamps are in place. There is no excessive soot that could indicate a leak. My drive shaft, properly mounted and secured, not cracked, not bent, broken, or damaged. And there's no illegal welds. People do illegally weld them. There are legal welds on there, but I don't even need to know that right now. My universal joints, I got one up there in the front, and I got one right here. They're properly mounted and secured, not bent, broken, or damaged. There's no illegal welds, and they are properly greased.
You're talking about the U-joint on the drive shaft?
Yes. Tractor frame, properly mounted and secured, not bent, broken, or damaged. No illegal welds, and is not missing any hardware. A torque arm.
That's what I forgot.
Torque arm, properly mounted and secured, not bent, broken, or damaged. It is properly mounted at the top, or sorry, from side to side, and the bushings are in place.
What's the bushings?
The bushing is the rubber thing that goes around the inside of the mount. See this right here?
Right.
There's a rubber bushing inside.
That you just touched?
Yep.
Okay.
And that way there's no metal to metal contact. Excuse me. You really don't have to say all that stuff. You should, but you don't really have to say that. Anything
Okay,
you
so
really
what
got
do
to
you have
do
to say for the torque arm?
is recognize the torque arms properly mounted and secured, not bent, broken, or damaged,
No illegal welds.
and no illegal welds.
Okay.
That's basically all you got to say for it. In 160, they talk about the bushing and stuff like that. Okay, so while I'm here, do I want to start that? See, I like to start the fifth wheel because I'm right here. I like to start it. So I go to my airline because it's right there. I'm standing right here. I'm right there. I see it. I'm going to set it. Fifth wheel air slide airline. Properly mounted and secured. Not cut, cracked, or frayed. It is not leaking. And the locking pins are in the locked position. Trailer apron. Properly mounted and secured. Not bent, broken, or damaged. No illegal welds. And no illegal holes. Fifth wheel skid plate, properly mounted and secured, not bent, broken, or damaged. There is no gap between the skid plate and the apron, and it is properly greased. My fifth wheel release arm, properly mounted and secured, not bent, broken, or damaged, and is in the locked position. Then I come around here. Fifth wheel slide. Properly mounted and secured, not bent, broken, or damaged. No illegal welds. Fifth wheel platform. Properly mounted and secured, not bent, broken, or damaged. No illegal welds. The fifth wheel mounting bolts. Properly mounted and secured, not bent, broken, or damaged, and none are missing. Yep. As soon as I said the airlines, it did the pins because they kind of go together. Then I would come back here and actually walk in there because I'm still working with the fifth wheel. So I want to get that out of the way. We look down the throat of my fifth wheel. My kingpin, properly mounted and secured, not bent, broken, or damaged. My locking jaws are properly mounted and secured, not bent, broken, or damaged, and locked around the kingpin shank.
No gap.
I already said that. Said that up front. That's my fifth wheel. My fifth wheel's done. So then I would come back up to here. This is going to be quick, so pay attention. Leaf spring, hanger. My leaf spring, my U-bolts, shock absorber, airbag, properly mounted and secured, not free of abrasions, bulges, or cuts, and it is not leaking. My airbag mounts, properly mounted and secured at the top and the bottom. Not missing any hardware, no illegal welds. We'll go up to here. ABS line, brake chamber hose, brake chamber, push rod, slack adjuster, Carter key, clevis pen, brake shoes, brake drum. My tires are evenly worn. There's no less than 2/32 tread depth in each major groove. My inner and outer walls. My bud space. My rims are touching. My tires are not touching. It is not illegally welded, and it is free of any debris that could fly out and cause an accident or a hazard. My rims, I got two, so rims. My lug nuts. My axle seal, properly mounted and secured, not bent, broken, or damaged, not missing any hardware, and it is not leaking. My valve stems. I would do this axle as I did this axle, with the exception of my mud flap. My mud flap bracket, properly mounted and secured, not cracked, broken, or damaged. The DOT tape is clear and visible. Mud flap, properly mounted and secured, not cut, broken, or damaged. It is no less than 6 to 8 inches from the ground.
We testing her on the pre-inspection. Are we disturbing it?
No, they're all the way over there. We're over here. My tail lights, properly mounted and secured, not cracked, broken, or damaged, red in color, and not hazed over. My reverse light, properly mounted and secured, not cracked, broken, or damaged, clear in color, and not hazed over. My tail light, or tag light, properly mounted and secured, not cracked, broken, or damaged, not missing any hardware. It is clear in color and not hazed over. My reflectors, properly mounted and secured, not cracked, broken, or damaged, red in color, and not hazed over. That right there at that point pretty much well takes care of the tractor. Now we're going to officially start the trailer. Trailer headboard, properly mounted and secured, free of holes or bulges which could indicate a shift in my load, not missing any rivets. My trailer frame, properly mounted and secured, not bent, broken, or damaged, no illegal welds, and it's not missing any rivets. Those rivets are important. Okay, that's good. Overall side of my trailer, properly mounted and secured. There's no holes or bulges which can indicate a shift in my load. Not missing any rivets. Overall condition is pretty good. My clearance light, properly mounted and secured, not cracked, broken, or damaged, amber in color, and not hazed over. My DOT tape, properly mounted and secured, clear and visible. My cross members, my trailer, properly mounted and secured, not cracked, not bent, broken, or damaged, no illegal welds, and it's not missing any hardware. My floor, properly mounted and secured, not cracked, broken, or damaged, there's no holes, and it supports the weight of my load. Well, that sounds pretty bad. Well, if there's no holes, we're assuming it's not leaking. But I don't think that's safe. You have to say that?
No.
I didn't think so, but I just wanted to double check, just to be on the safe side. And sometimes I forget shit too. Okay, so that brings us to there's adequate space between the end of my tractor and my landing gear. Landing gear frame, properly mounted and secured. Not cracked, broken, or damaged. Yet, I never got an answer for it. Not cracked, broken, or damaged. No illegal welds. My landing gear supports. Properly mounted and secured. Not bent, broken, or damaged. No illegal welds. Not missing any hardware. My landing gear legs. Properly mounted and secured. Not bent, broken, or damaged. They are properly greased and in the upright position. My landing gear feet, properly mounted and secured, not bent, broken, or damaged, not missing any hardware. Landing gear crank, properly mounted and secured. Obviously it's bent, but it's not cracked, broken, or damaged, not missing any hardware, and it is in the stowed position. Moving on. My turn signal, properly mounted and secured. Not a crack, broken, or damaged, not missing any hardware. Amber in color, not hazed over. Overall side of my trailer I'm still looking at. Still not missing any rivets. No holes, no bulges. My airlines, properly mounted and secured. Not cut, cracked, or frayed. They are not leaking, and they are at least 16 to 18 inches from the ground. Don't say it. I know it's not. And a moron can see that it's not. Okay? But that's what you have to say. Is that a bubble? I think that's just a bubble. Yeah, it's just a bubble. My electrical line, properly mounted and secured, right here. Not cut, cracked, or frayed. No exposed wires. My Tailor. Yep, that's what that's called, my Tailor. This is tandem frame. Yeah, I had to get reboot there for a second. Tandem frame, properly mounted and secured. Not cracked, broken, or damaged. No illegal welds. Fifth wheel slide. That's this whole thing right here. Oh shit. Tandem slide. You know what? I'm old, okay? Tandem slide. Properly mounted and secured. Not bent, broken, or damaged. There's no illegal welds. Tandem release button. Properly mounted and secured. Not bent, broken, or damaged. The airlines are properly mounted and secured. Not cut, cracked, or frayed, and they are not leaking. My pins are in the locked position. Okay, ready for this? Okay. I see this right here. Shock absorbers. Airbag mounts. Pretty good. ABS line, brake chamber hoses, brake chamber, push rod, slack adjuster, Carter key, clevis pen, brake shoes, return spring, brake drum. Tires. Evenly worn. No less than 2/32 tread depth. My inner and outer walls. My bud space. My rims. My lug nuts. My hub seal. Properly mounted and secured. Not bent, broken, or damaged. Not missing any hardware. Not leaking. Because this is different from that. That is an axle seal. This is a hub seal. That's why I knew there was a reason why you had to say this one again.
But you already mentioned the FCL.
You only named that on the drive axle, the steer axle. Then you went to, but this axle is the same as that one. So what's the difference between that one, them tandems, and these tandems?
The difference is they have a hub. These got an axle.
It's a difference. And there was a reason why I was telling you guys to call out. So you have to determine and name the differences between these set of tandems and those set of tandems.
So because the steer axle or steer only has one tire, it's not tandems, that makes it different.
Exactly. Very good. So it's just simple. You've already explained what a hub seal is. You just got to say it again because it differs from that set of tandems.
So you just got to say the hub seal, but you can name out the rest of the stuff.
No,
like
you
the
got to say hub seal, properly mounted and secured.
No, I'm saying you got to explain the hub seal, but as far as the brake hoses and stuff, you just got to just name
same
those.
exact as what's up there.
Okay.
But like I said, this is the only difference. So you have to name this out, and you got to call it defects. These are your valve stems. They're connected together. They actually hook two valve stems that you can't. Yeah, you can see right there is one. See how this comes back, and it's connected with a bolt there. You can't really see it on this one unless you're getting way down here. These are self-inflating tires, so they balance themselves out. Now to fill these, you would have to unscrew that bolt and actually fill it up with air. Then you put it back on. So all you have to say is valve stems. That's it. Make sure you say valve stems. Okay? Because technically there are valve stems there. Okay, let's see, where are we at?
Valve
Okay,
seal.
that's it. So then we would do this axle as we did this axle, with the exception of the mud flap bracket. ABS light, properly mounted and secured. Amber in color, not hazed over. It is not on. When I turn the vehicle on, if this remains on, that indicates that I have a problem with my ABS system. Basically all you gotta say is ABS light, properly mounted and secure, amber in color, and is not on. If it was on, then that would indicate a problem with my ABS system. Marker light, properly mounted and secured. Red in color, not hazed over, and not cracked, broken, or damaged. Yep, start at the bottom and work up. DOT bumper, properly mounted and secured. Not bent, broken, or damaged. I know it's bent. I know. Not bent, broken, or damaged. No illegal welds, because these are legal welds, because a lot of these trucks had to be retrofitted with DOT bumpers. And it supports my weight. Just do that right there. DOT tape, properly mounted and secured, clear and visible. Let me come up to the next level. Tag, trailer tag, properly mounted and secured, clean and up to date. Tag light, properly mounted and secured, clear in color, not hazed over, not cracked, broken, or damaged. Tail lights, properly mounted and secured, not cracked, broken, or damaged, not missing any hardware. Red in color, not hazed over. DOT tape on my door, properly mounted and secured, clear and up to date, or clear and clean. Visible, that's the word, visible. Okay. Working up. My door latches and handles, properly mounted and secured, not bent, broken, or damaged, and in the locked position. My handle clasp, properly mounted and secured, not bent, broken, or damaged, not missing any hardware. It is also in the locked position. My door hinges, properly mounted and secured, not bent, broken, or damaged, not missing any hardware, and supports the weight of my door. At this time, I would open my door check my load to make sure that it has not shifted and that it is properly secured. My clearance lights, properly mounted and secured. Red in color, not hazed over. Not cracked, broken, or damaged. I can't remember if I said that or not. That quick. Not missing any hardware because you can actually see screws up. Then you come over to this side. There's one major thing we forgot, but that's okay because it's on this side and we missed it. But I would do this side as I did that side, with the exception of we all walk down this way. Nope, you did the exhaust.
Oh, that mirror.
That's right, the mirror.
I used to do that when I do the front of the truck.
You can do that, that's fine, but if you miss it, because see what's going on when they're taking the test, Keith will walk down this side like you're supposed to, and whoever else is running right to the driver's seat. I don't want you to do that anymore. Everybody walks down the same side Keith walks down. And that way, and you're looking. Maybe you missed something on the other side. If it's on this side, you can say, oh yeah, I would check this here, and check that there, or, you know, I forgot to say there was no bulges, but there's no bulges in this side. Whatever, anything could happen. So we're looking, everything looks good, it looks good, it's not leaking. With the exception of this mirror.
What is that for anyway?
It's a spot mirror, or a blind spot mirror. What, see, in the old days, they used to have a cutout right here.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was a glass. And you could look through there and see if there was a car right here. So they eliminated that and put that. Which, when you add these, and that really kind of eliminates that.
So the rest of the trucks don't have that though, right?
Not all trucks do. Not all trucks have this either.
But you gotta call that out.
But you have to call it out because it's there. It's properly mounted and secured. Not missing any hardware. And you can say, because you're looking at it, it's not cracked, broken, or damaged. Okay? Then, when you get up to here, you say, I would like to know if you could help me, or can you assist me in doing my light check? And then that's when we go and get into the in-cab inspection. And we'll do that after I think I